The night was thick with rain, a steady whisper against the glass as Elena stood frozen by the bedroom door. She hadn't meant to come home early, but something, an unshakable instinct, had pulled her back. The city lights glittered below their penthouse balcony, and through the half-open door, she saw them, her husband Daniel and his so-called assistant, locked in a slow, shameless dance of betrayal. Her breath hitched, sharp and trembling. Daniel turned, eyes widening. "Elena, this isn't... Don't." Her voice was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that made men like Daniel nervous. He reached for her, panic flickering behind his charm. "You don't understand. It's not what you think." But it was exactly what she thought. She'd suspected for weeks, the late-night business trips, the faint traces of perfume she didn't wear. She stepped closer, the city wind tugging at her hair. "How long, Daniel?" He hesitated, and that was enough. Elena's eyes hardened. "You threw away everything. For her." Daniel's mask cracked. "I built everything. You wouldn't understand what it takes to lie," she cut in. "To destroy what you built because you couldn't control yourself." The mistress, a trembling young woman in a silk robe, slipped quietly out, leaving them alone with the storm. Elena turned toward the balcony, her voice a whisper. "You'll regret this." Something snapped inside him. Years of greed, pride, and paranoia collided. "No!" he muttered, stepping forward. "You will..." Before she could react, his hands were on her. The rain swallowed her scream as he shoved, one violent push, and she vanished into the dark. Daniel stood there, chest heaving, rain soaking his shirt. He stared down at the street below. No movement, no sound but thunder. He swallowed hard. "It's over," he whispered to himself, voice breaking. But it wasn't. The next morning, the news called it a tragic accident. The devastated husband played his part well. Tears at the funeral. Interviews about how she slipped. The world pitied him. The mistress vanished, bought off with silence and cash. Then came the first sign. A week later, Daniel received a package. No return address. Inside, a small silver bracelet. Elena's, the one that had disappeared the night she died. His hand shook as he turned it over, finding 3 words etched faintly on the inner curve. "I saw you." His breath caught. Someone knew. He tore through the house, locked the doors, checked every camera. Nothing. But that night, he heard it. A faint knock on the balcony door. Slow, deliberate. He froze. The balcony was 14 floors up. "Who's there?" he called out, voice cracking. Silence. Then another knock. He moved closer, heart pounding. The rain began again, tapping the glass. Lightning flashed, and in that instant he saw her reflection. Pale, still, standing just beyond the door, drenched in moonlight, eyes empty and knowing. Elena. But when he blinked, she was gone. Only the curtains swayed. Daniel stumbled back, shaking. No, this isn't real. He poured himself a drink, hands trembling, trying to convince himself it was guilt, nothing more. But as he lifted the glass, he noticed something on the rim. Fingerprints, wet, delicate, and unmistakably hers. Days passed. Every night, the knocking returned. Every morning, something new appeared. Her perfume in the hallway, her handwriting on the mirror, her voice whispering his name when no one else was home. He began to lose sleep, lose control. The house became a prison, haunted not by her ghost, but by what he'd done. Then one night, he received an email from an unknown sender. Only one line. "You didn't kill me." Attached was a photo. Elena Olive, bruised, scarred, but standing. And behind her, the shadow of someone Daniel had trusted more than anyone else. His best friend, Marcus. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He stared at the photo, the cursor blinking in the corner of the screen as if daring him to move. Marcus? The man who'd been his partner in everything. Business, life, even the cover-up? No, it couldn't be. His mind scrambled for logic. Maybe it was fake. Maybe someone was trying to blackmail him. But the timestamp on the photo was last night, and Elena's eyes in that picture. They were alive, furious, and terrifyingly real. He slammed the laptop shut, his heart pounding like a war drum. Sweat gathered at the back of his neck. He picked up his phone and called Marcus, pacing the floor like a caged animal. No answer. He called again. Still nothing. Finally, a message buzzed through. Asterisk meet me. Midnight. The docks. Asterisk. The docks. The same place Daniel had dumped her things that night. Her phone, her jewelry, the small black notebook she always carried. A place that still reeked of his sin. At 11:56 p.m., he stood there, the water black and restless under the pier lights. The city was far enough away that the only sounds were the creak of wood and the sigh of waves. His breath fogged the cold air. A car's headlights sliced through the dark. Marcus stepped out, tall, calm, hands in his coat pockets. "You look terrible," he said lightly, his voice echoing. Daniel didn't smile. "Where is she?" Marcus tilted his head, smirking just slightly. "You got the photo, I assume?" "Don't play games, Marcus." Daniel's voice was shaking now. "Tell me where she is." Marcus walked closer, the gravel crunching under his shoes. "Relax. You should be happy. She's alive, isn't she?" "You said—" "I said what you wanted to hear," Marcus interrupted smoothly. "You wanted it all gone. The mess, the evidence, the guilt. You think I didn't see it in your eyes that night." Daniel felt a surge of nausea. "You helped me," he whispered. "I saved you," Marcus corrected, leaning in. "But you've always been too blind to see who's really in control." Daniel's fists clenched. "Where is she?" Marcus's smile widened. "Somewhere safe. For now. But she's not the same, Daniel. You broke something in her. And now she's coming for everything you built. Your company, your name, your peace. She wants you to watch it all burn." The words hit him like a blade. His empire, his perfect, carefully constructed world, was already showing cracks. Investors had started pulling out mysteriously, rumors spreading about fraud, manipulation, missing funds. It hadn't made sense. Until now. "You're helping her," Daniel realized, the words trembling out. Marcus gave a small shrug. "Let's just say she made me an offer I couldn't refuse. You underestimated her. Old friend. You always thought she was just a pretty ornament for your arm. But she's smarter than both of us." Daniel's mind spun. He lunged forward, grabbing Marcus by the collar. "Tell me where she is, or I swear." Marcus's grin didn't falter. "You'll what? Kill me too? Like you did her?" Daniel froze. The silence stretched heavy and cold. Marcus leaned closer, his breath ghosting against Daniel's ear. "Careful, Daniel. People are watching now." And then Marcus pulled away, leaving Daniel standing alone by the water as the car disappeared into the night. When he got home, the lights were already on. That was strange. He was sure he'd turned them off. He stepped inside slowly, each creak of the floorboards louder than the last. On the coffee table sat a glass of red wine, her favorite brand. Next to it, a small flash drive. A note was taped to the top. "Play me." He hesitated, every nerve screaming don't, but curiosity or guilt won. He plugged it into the TV. The screen flickered, static, then a video started. It was Elena, sitting in a dimly lit room, bruised but composed, her gaze sharp. "Hello, Daniel," she said, her voice steady. "I'm sure by now you've realized you didn't bury me. You just taught me how to survive." He sank to the couch, breath shallow. "I fell that night," she continued, "but not far enough. The railing caught me. I hit the lower terrace, broke 2 ribs, my arm. I lay there listening to you panic. I saw you look down. I saw you leave." Daniel's heart thudded painfully. "Marcus found me later," she went on. "He didn't call for help. Not right away. He waited until you were gone, then took me away. He said he'd keep me safe. He said you'd never find me." Her voice darkened. "He lied too, but that's another story." She leaned closer to the camera. "You built your world on lies and betrayal, Daniel. Now you'll watch it crumble. Every secret you thought was buried. I've dug them up. Every person you used. I've told them who you really are." The video cut to footage, news clips, financial reports, police investigations. all with his name flashing across the screen. Fraud, embezzlement, a missing employee, a falsified death certificate. No, he whispered, backing away from the screen. Her voice returned, softer now, but laced with venom. You took my life, Daniel. Now I'm taking yours, piece by piece. The screen went black. Then, from behind him, the faint sound of footsteps. He turned sharply. The hallway light flickered. A shadow moved past the doorway. Slim, deliberate. He froze. Elena! His voice was barely a whisper. No answer. Only the faint scent of her perfume. Jasmine and rain, drifting through the air. He grabbed the nearest object, a letter opener, and stepped toward the sound. The air was colder now, heavy. The door to the bedroom was slightly open. A light flickered inside. He pushed it slowly. On the bed lay a single item, her wedding ring, placed on top of a folded piece of paper. With shaking hands, he opened it. This is where it started. It read, so this is where it ends. He dropped the paper. The mirror across the room reflected his pale, shaking face. But in that same reflection, just behind him, was another figure. Ellen. He spun around, but the space was empty. The door creaked shut by itself. He stumbled backward, chest tight, vision spinning. This isn't real, he muttered, again and again. She's dead, she's dead. The window burst open suddenly, wind and rain crashing into the room. The curtains twisted wildly, slapping against the walls. Somewhere in the chaos, a voice whispered, low, almost tender, "You should have looked down." Daniel's knees gave out. He crawled toward the balcony door, rain soaking the carpet beneath him. He yanked it open and stared into the darkness below. Lightning flashed, and there, standing where she had fallen, was a figure, still, watching. He blinked hard, heart racing, but she didn't move. Not an illusion, not a trick of light. She was there. "Elena!" he shouted, his voice cracking against the storm. "What do you want from me?" For a moment, silence. Then, faintly, her voice rose to the thunder, clear, steady, and cold. "Justice." He stumbled back, shaking his head violently. "You can't, you're dead." The lights flickered. His phone rang suddenly, slicing through the chaos. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. "Daniel." Her voice came through, alive, calm, and terrifyingly close. "Turn around." He froze. He turned slowly, the phone slipping from his trembling hand, shattering on the floor. The room was eerily still now. No storm, no thunder, only the heavy hum of silence pressing in from every wall. And there she was. Elena stood in the doorway, drenched from the rain but radiant in her calm. Her skin glowed faintly under the dim light, her hair tangled, her eyes deep pools of quiet fire. She wasn't a ghost. She was alive, more alive than he had ever seen her. For a moment, neither spoke. Only their breathing filled the room, the rapid panic of his, the controlled rhythm of hers. "Elena," he whispered, disbelief tearing through every word. You're alive." Her lips curved, not into a smile, but something sharper. "You sound disappointed." He stumbled back, nearly tripping over the glass shards on the floor. I thought Marcus said you." "Marcus lied," she interrupted softly, "just like you did." He swallowed, his throat dry. "You don't understand. I never meant to." "To kill me?" she asked, stepping closer, her gaze unflinching. "Tell me, Daniel, how do you accidentally push your wife off a balcony?" He had no answer. His lips moved, but only a choked sound escaped. She took another step, her boots clicking on the marble, echoing in the hollow of his chest. "I watched you from the shadows," she said, her voice steady, her every word measured like a sentence. "I saw you give interviews about my accident. I watched you pretend to grieve. You even gave speeches about love and loss. You're good at pretending, Daniel. But you forgot something. Truth doesn't stay buried forever." Her eyes glinted with a quiet, devastating power. "And neither do I." He shook his head, desperate, cornered. "You don't know what it's been like. I lost everything because of you. My company, my friends." "No, Daniel." Her tone was razor-sharp now. You lost everything because of you. He tried to move toward her, his voice breaking. Please, Elena, I can fix this. I'll confess, She laughed softly, a sound that wasn't cruel but impossibly sad. Confess? You've had years to do that, but you didn't. You built a throne out of lies and sat on it proudly. So I decided to become the storm that would tear it down. The room flickered as lightning flashed again outside. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small device, a voice recorder. She pressed play. Daniel, came his own voice, desperate, panicked, from that night. Asterisk, it's over. Elena, you can't ruin me. Asterisk, then the sound of struggle, a scream, and silence. He felt his legs weaken. His world collapsed in that moment. The mask, the power, the illusion, all gone. You recorded me, he whispered, horrified. She nodded. I recorded the truth. And tonight, the police will hear it. So will the press. You won't talk your way out of this one. He lunged toward her suddenly, wild, cornered. No, you can't do this. You can't destroy me. She stepped aside effortlessly as he stumbled past her. I already have, she said quietly. He turned, his face twisted in rage and fear. I'll kill you this time. I swear I will. But before he could move again, the sirens wailed in the distance, approaching fast. Red and blue lights began to dance across the wet balcony doors. Her voice was low but firm. You hear that? That's not me coming for you anymore. That's justice. He froze, chest heaving, sweat beading on his forehead. You called them? Not just them, she said, stepping closer, her expression unreadable. The board knows. The investors know. The world knows what you did. To me, to everyone. It's all out there now. His phone buzzed violently on the floor, hundreds of notifications lighting up, news alerts, emails, missed calls. He could see the headlines flashing to the broken screen. CEO Daniel Shaw under investigation for attempted murder and fraud. His empire was gone. He sank to his knees, eyes hollow, voice cracking. You ruined me. Elena looked down at him, the rainwater dripping from her coat onto the marble. No, Daniel. I freed you from the monster you became. He laughed bitterly, shaking his head. You think you're better than me? No, she said simply. Just stronger. Outside, the sirens grew louder. Tires screeched to a halt. The sound of heavy boots echoed up the stairwell. He looked at her one last time, a mix of hatred and regret flashing in his eyes. You should have stayed dead, he spat. She met his gaze without flinching. You should have stayed human. The door burst open behind them. Officers stormed in, weapons drawn. Daniel froze as they surrounded him. Daniel Shaw, you're under arrest for attempted murder, fraud, and obstruction of justice, an officer announced. Daniel's face twisted in disbelief, fury, shame, all crashing together. You don't understand. She's lying. She fell. She. Elena stood silently as the officers handcuffed him. He turned toward her, desperate. Elena, please, tell them it was an accident. She looked at him with an expression that held no hatred, only sorrow. The accident, she said softly, was loving you. As they dragged him away, his voice echoed to the hall, wild and broken. You'll regret this, Elena. You'll regret this. But she didn't move, didn't blink. She just stood there, watching him disappear down the hall, his shouts fading beneath the hum of rain and sirens. When the door finally closed and the noise died down, she exhaled a long, trembling breath that felt like the first one in years. Her shoulders dropped, her hands unclenched. For the first time since that night, the air around her didn't feel heavy. She walked slowly to the balcony, the city lights glimmering below, soft and endless. The rain had stopped. The world smelled like something new. She looked down to the very spot she had fallen, and let the memory drift away with the wind. Behind her, the TV flickered again, the paused frame of her video message still glowing faintly. She picked up the flash drive, slid it into her pocket, and smiled. Some stories, she thought, don't end in tragedy. Some end in truth. She turned to leave, but something on the table caught her eye. Daniel's wedding band, lying where he had dropped it into chaos. For a moment, she stared at it. Then she picked it up, walked to the balcony edge, and let it slip from her fingers. It fell soundlessly into the night. Her phone buzzed. A message from Marcus. Asterisk, he's gone. We did it. Are you okay? Asterisk. She typed back slowly. Asterisk, better than ever. But Marcus, we need to talk. Asterisk. Because there was something in Marcus's eyes that night at the docks. A shadow, a secret she hadn't yet named. She had trusted him once, the way she had trusted Daniel. And trust, she had learned, was the first weapon people use against you. As the city lights reflected in her eyes, Elena smiled faintly. Not of joy, not of victory, but of knowing. She was no longer the broken wife thrown from a balcony. She was a storm that rose from the fall. Down below, sirens faded into distance. Somewhere, Daniel's voice echoed in the back of her mind. Swallowed by the night. Elena closed her eyes, lifted her face toward the cold sky, and whispered, "It's over." But deep inside, she knew the game wasn't finished yet. There were still debts to settle, truths to uncover. And Marcus, dear, charming Marcus, had just become her next chapter. As she stepped out of the penthouse for the last time, dawn began to rise. The first light of morning washed over the glass towers, chasing the darkness away. She walked into it, head high, her silhouette framed by the glow of a city reborn. And somewhere far below, the ring she dropped gleamed once before sinking into the shadows, closing the story that began with a fall and ended with a rise so magnificent, the world would never forget her name.